Okay, that'll be okay for now. All right, so the first thing for announcements is December 2nd. I just want to bring this up. December 2nd, I'll be speaking at Kin Folks Coffee in Oakland. Yeah, it'll be in downtown Oakland, again, like off of Telegraph. And so that'll be a great opportunity. One, so what I'll be talking about is, again, wealth and wellness. So it'll be a discussion around wellness as well as with wealth as well. And so we'll be discussing that with some folks. And again, it's pretty much a younger crowd. Of course, I feel like it's like a 20s, 30s space. But it's super dope though. Super dope. I've been there a lot of times. I love what they offer there. So definitely looking forward to that. And then also on my YouTube page, I've been connecting with other financial, I want to say, speakers and people who do work around finances. And so I've been connecting with them, and we'll be working with them for a podcast, and we'll have some episodes on my YouTube page. And I'm supposed to meet with somebody this Thursday and this Friday. So definitely we'll have something by next week on Wednesday, and then something possibly even the same week. But this will be on my YouTube page. If you could just look up Jermaine Hughes. And then December 12th, I'll also be having an event with some friends in downtown Oakland. And this will be an event in which we'll be having a lot of different services. So it won't be finances only. It'll just be kind of like an event where a lot of different vendors are there to share their different services and items. And so I definitely encourage you guys to come through to that as well. In terms of our subject matter for today, we're talking about sinking funds. Well, let me first ask, has anyone ever heard of that term before? Sinking funds. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Mary. So fortunately, it's not like that. It's not a negative thing. It is a savings, if you will, mechanism or strategy. And so I would encourage you guys to, one, just pay attention today. Everybody have books. Does anyone need books? You guys need some? Could you guys grab a couple? But in talking about sinking funds, well, this is ultimately about saving in a way that allows you to save money bit by bit. So the idea around sinking funds is that, like a sinking ship, the sinking ship is slowly sinking, right? It doesn't sink overnight, it doesn't sink in just a matter of minutes, but it's slowly losing, or rather slowly absorbing water, more and more water, more and more water. And over time, it eventually sinks. Same thing with some of our financial goals. The idea is that our financial goals will be met in a time period that actually, one, is dedicated, or try to say is dictated by us. So we determine when we want to reach a certain financial goal. And when we reach that financial goal, we can have that money in the bank and we can spend it on what we plan to spend it on. And so one thing that they're saying here is that it is great at avoiding debt. One, because you're not buying something before you save up for it, but you're buying it once you save up for it. It's great for people who want to pay for predictable expenses. And this is really important because when it comes to large expenses, emergencies are things that we can't predict, right? We didn't know that was going to happen. The car accident, someone breaking into the car, breaking into the house, taking something from us losing something happening to our bodies, we get injured or something like that. That is unpredictable. But when it comes to the predictable things, this is great for that. Can someone give me an idea of a predictable expense? You know what's coming, and you know it's not free. And you say it again. PG&E. PG&E is one example. I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, is PG&E monthly? PG&E is monthly, right? What's the one that's not monthly? I want to say, water. Right, every 2 months, right? So we have to be prepared for that when that comes. What's something that happens maybe once every 6 months or maybe once a year that we know? Car insurance is monthly. Oil change, right? Like a lump sum. Interesting. Yeah, so that'd be good if you guys have a setup like that, right? I think about car registration. right? So that's going to be, again, $200 to $300 or more, depending on how you treat it fast track in the meantime. And so that's a whole thing. I want to lift up Christmas. We know it's coming, all right? We know it ain't free. As well as any birthdays, right? Any of those loved ones, our significant other, our parents, we know there's going to be a birthday party that we have to at least contribute to some degree for food, maybe a gift, some cards or whatever. But these are things that we know are going to come. And so that gives us a great opportunity to go, I know I need to start putting money away for this, not only right now, but I would say as soon as possible. So this gives me a great idea. One of the things that I learned to do is to start saving for Christmas right after Christmas, right? Because that means you save, or rather you put into your savings account the least amount of money per paycheck. At the point at which it's November and you got to start buying gifts, and gifts are going to accumulate to be $500 to $1,000, then you have to start taking a lot of money out of your paycheck. But if you start saving in December, or rather say January, then you're taking maybe 15, maybe 20 out of each paycheck, and you have enough by the time you get to Christmas to cover it, and it's not going to hurt you as much as it did if you had just started saving in December. Control your spending, protect your emergency fund, which is great, right? Because you're not having to pull from your emergency fund to make that work. And then build better money habits. So that is a great way for us to, again, have these routines, these strategies to implement so that we understand our money and are paying more attention to our money overall. Thank you. How do they work? So you choose an expense, you estimate the cost, you choose your deadline, you divide the cost by month or by paychecks. I use paychecks. And you save a little per paycheck. So here is a little sheet I'm gonna give to you guys, where we can theoretically, hypothetically, give this a go and go, if I were to save for a birthday or Christmas or something like that, this is how it goes. And this is the beginning. I'll say that it's a beginning. It's not necessarily the way by which you would have to do it each time. But once you get the rhythm of doing this by any means for any particular bill, you can start to do it for a number of different things. And what's great about what I'll talk about today is some of the things that, one, I have never gotten to apply, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like a great idea. And then some of the stuff I have applied, and I'll show you some examples of things I've done. But at the end of the day, you can do this in ways where you're still accumulating money, like by putting it into your high yield savings account and or your brokerage account. So you're still accumulating money, you're still putting money to the side, but it's going to have a little bit more assistance because it's in a high yield savings account where they're paying you interest on top of what you're putting in on a regular basis. So I put item or occasion. So again, if it's Christmas, that's an occasion. It's not particularly one particular item. How much do you want to spend? Which I think is a great way to start Christmas. Right? Instead of just going, uh-oh, I know what you want and I just got to figure out a way to get it to you. It goes, how much do I want to spend on gifts this year? What sounds reasonable, right? Given how much we make, given how much we bring into the house, I'm going to throw out this number. And you can say, I'm going to do my best to, one, save that money per month, but at the same time, I'm going to make sure that we stick to it when it comes to Christmas. So that, one, and this is why it's really great, so that you don't break your bank. Right? You don't hurt your credit. You don't hurt your bank account because you try to over deliver for someone else. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to go, great job, I'll pay you back. That was a whole lot. I understand. Here's the money that you didn't have. I'll make sure that you're even by the end of the month. No, everybody's going to just say thank you and go home. So this is a way for you to go, thank you so much, or rather, this is a way for you to be responsible and give people what you want to give them. And at the same time, make sure that you're not hurting yourself in the process. So if anybody can, you guys can start writing. Just give me literally one occasion or item you know you want to save up for. Again, we already threw out some for you guys. And the due date, right? So we know that Christmas, keep it a buck. You don't want to be shopping on the day of Christmas. So we probably want to be done because you guys already know it get crazy in December. So probably what's the last weekend you want to go shopping in for Christmas? It might be. It might. But this is the thing, right? It's one thing to say, is it too late to save? It's definitely a week away. But the other thing though is if you're trying to bring something, it might not be in the store next week. You know what I mean? Like every item won't be available. Chips and dip, not for Thanksgiving. You can't have chips and dip. Like, y'all welcome. Wow. That's hilarious. So definitely, I would say definitely keep that in mind because again, the later that we buy it, the more of a hassle we're going to have, whether it's online or not, right? Ideally, Amazon is still going to do what Amazon does if you're going to do Amazon. But if you're not going to do Amazon, you're going to have to go to a store. You have to find parking. It's going to be a whole thing. Right? You got to hope that they have what you want. That's why I order online. And then the price, right? So then we want to put down the price, whatever that price may be. Moving forward from there, how many paychecks is that away for you? Is that just going to be 3? Is that going to be 15? So what I know, right, is that we get paid everybody's jobs are different, right? But if it's monthly, if it's bi-weekly, whatever that is, how many paychecks will we have in a month? Most likely 2. But if you also want to get real particular, some months are going to be 3 because the way that it worked out. But ideally, whether or not you get that right number in terms of paychecks, you still have a clear idea of, okay, it's going to be about 12 paychecks. It's going to be about 6 paychecks. It's going to be about 5. I can make sure I know ideally somewhere in the ballpark of what that's going to be. And then how much should you save per paycheck? How much should you save? At this point, again, the closer it is, the higher the number is. But the further away, the lower it is. So it could be 10, 15, 20. But definitely make sure you guys write that down and let me know what you guys came up with. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know personally the car registration is one that hits me or has hit me because it's surprising. I'm not really thinking about it. Birthdays, even my birthday, right? Like, how much do you want to spend on your birthday for what you want, If you want to go somewhere in particular, you guys want to eat somewhere in particular, you want to have something that you're contributing to it all. But yeah, between holidays, birthdays, and annual fees. So that even comes up when we start talking about credit cards. We'll get into credit cards more next week. But each credit card, if you're talking about some of the higher end credit cards, these all have annual fees. And you want to make sure that money is in the account when it starts to be charged to your credit card for your annual fee that you have to pay. And so it could be anywhere from $19 a year to $695. So you just want to make sure that you have these things in your budget, but on the horizon so that you're not being taken back by those. So can someone give me their example of what they would do what's an example of a sinking fund for you?
Every year, me and my family go on like a family trip for my dad's birthday. He passed away. So, it'll be next month. So I just did it for next year. And typically for just like the flight and like the stay, it'll be like around $2,000. So I just did that number, and then I put I get like paid every 2 weeks. So I did starting from December or the last week. What's today? Yeah, the last week, and then all the way up until next December.
Right.
Checks.
Right.
And then I would just have to save $80, and I'll have $2,000.
Right. Right. No, that's good.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Anyone else? Anyone else like to share?
Oh, per check will be $40, not 80. But if you
Okay.
want to do two checks, it'll be 80.
Right. But 80 per month.
Yeah.
Yep. 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 Mm-hmm. Yes, Chet.
So every year, the family members contribute whatever they can for the turkey dinner. So I gave them my what is that, EBT card?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, 290. Um, so how much should we say? I just gave it. I gave you the card.
Listen, man, you got to keep your car. We're going to keep talking.
In November.
Uh-huh.
So, how many paychecks? Just one.
Mm-hmm.
The price was 290.
Mm-hmm.
The due date was November the 3rd, and it was a turkey day.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see. I see. So yeah, again, what's good is again, especially if you have that fixed income situation, you can know where certain checks are just going to go. Like, here's the whole thing, take that. But absolutely, again, once you are just have that clear understanding of what's coming up, this is great for making sure that you have a plan. One thing I also want to mention, and this is a great way to be actually motivated to save your money. When we talked a number of weeks ago, we talked about how important it is, one, for us to save, but how hard it can be for us to save money. But when you know that you know exactly what you're saving for, you know how much you actually want to spend and how much you want to save for, it gives you that motivation to go, I'm really going to leave this money alone because I really want to let this happen, right? Whereas I don't know if I know it wasn't here, but I was talking at my church the other week, and someone was like, I'm saving money, but I keep spending it because I really don't know why I'm saving it. Like, I'm just trying to save, and it again, if you don't have that motivation to leave it there, you're probably just going to mess with it all the time, right? Every time you move it, you bring it back, right? And I've been there as well, so I know exactly that. One, this is a great way to save for those things that we know that we are looking forward to participate in or to do, but also if there is an emergency, right, that does threaten this, you have some money in the account, right? Versus again having to uh, what is that, depend on the credit card, having to ask someone else or something like that. You know that you've been saving for these various things, and those types of things are helping you to put the money aside. So you can, and we'll get into the different accounts soon, but these can be things that you have accounts for, or you can have a single account and you can just make sure that you're putting writing it down somewhere exactly what you're saving for and why. We go to the next one. So what can they be used for? This can be great for car repairs. This can be great for holidays and Christmas, birthdays and celebrations, travel, of course, school or daycare, of course, co-pays when it comes to medical expenses, but just putting money aside. I know one thing that I've done is put this money aside for dental visits, right? We know we got those every 6 months. Take my 90, take my 100, something around there. And that money is not going to throw off my complete budget because I know that it's coming. So it's all about continually putting that money aside and itemizing it to the best of your ability so that, again, you're motivated to actually stick to it. We go to the next one. That's it. Okay, cool, cool. Tracking. Okay, so high yield savings account. Why this works well. Higher interest, that is not spelled right, but we're going to keep moving. Higher interest earnings, easy to label and organize, automatic transfers, visual clarity, and keeps money out of your checking account. I think the biggest emphasis on that last one, right? So we talked about this before. When you actually have a high yield savings account, it is not your regular checking account. You can't easily move that money in 5 minutes or less. That is at least going to take a day or two. And so if you need it, you're going to have time to pull it out. Whereas if it is in your checking account, you're probably be that much more tempted to go ahead and spend it when you really don't need to. And so I definitely, like I said, emphasize that last one, but this also allows you to grow your interest. So you're gaining interest every single month in a higher way than you would if you had a regular checkings account, a regular savings account. And therefore, you get to go and get to your goal a little bit faster. Depending on how much you're putting in and what type of goal you're setting for, saving for, it can actually be rather faster. Just depends on what you're doing and what type of APY you have for that particular high yield savings account. What's great is that you can name these different accounts inside of the high yield savings account, inside the app that you're using. So it can have a name. You can have multiple as well. Like I mentioned, a high yield savings account doesn't have any minimum balance. And so you can put in 200 for one, you can put in 15 for one, you can put in, it's going to grow. But it's not, of course, if it's super low number, it's not going to grow super fast. But at the end of the day, it will grow regardless of how much you put in, and they do not limit how much you can have. You can create a few of those depending on where you want to do that. Go to the next one. So this is an example. I'll make sure I blurt out all these numbers. But this is my high yield savings account. So I do have one for the emergency fund. And like I said, it has edit nickname. So if I wanted to have it be something apart from emergency fund, I could put birthday fund. I could put, like I said, car registration, annual fees, credit cards, whatever I want to do. And I can make sure that that money is growing so that when I do have to pull it out, I can grab it from this account and to be in my regular checkings account within a day or two. But just wanted to mention again, the APY for this one is 3.9%, and the interest year gained on the year today is 293.64. Now that's good. That's a good number. I admit that. But that also, those bleeped out numbers are also really good numbers. So that's why that is a high number like it is. But at the end of the day, again, this is what you can do in the app. So this is, again, it's free. No minimum balances. However much you want to put in, you can do it. And it's right there. So let me stop for a second. Anyone have any questions about that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Starting in January, we push the money over the mat and just let it grow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So every time, and, you can have it automated where it goes out every single paycheck you have, right? And so, and then of course.
The emergency fund makes sense, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
About like not car insurance, but registration would make sense for doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so I gave you guys the papers, right? So in the papers, one thing that it mentions is that these are, and I'm not sure if it's at right now, but I will say by the end, it mentions that these are really good for short-term goals that are for a few years. So a few years time span, this is great for that. So not only are we talking about your annual birthday, what you want to do each year, but what about the milestones? What about that 30th though? What we talking about? Like what country we going? Where we staying? Right? 40th, right? 50th, 60th, 40. I don't know about 45 matters or 35 matters. I don't know if fives matter, but the zeros matter, right? So you could have, all no excuses. People like, listen, it's your 40th, it's your 50th. Do what you do. All that to say is that gives you a chance to save for something further out. So don't just think about the things you have to do annually, but even if it's every couple of years or in a few years, you want to make sure you're saving enough for that. We can go to the next slide. Multiple checking accounts, great for people who prefer clear separation, simple banking, strong discipline, easy to see balances. So when you have a few different accounts, then you can see all the balances, you can see how they're growing, you can see how much they're growing per month, again, based on that APY, and then you can, again, you can keep separating those, and you could keep adding them. I don't know if there's a limit in terms of how many you can have, but you can definitely keep adding those. Let's go to the next slide. Tracking with a spreadsheet. So this is something that I did for a good amount of time. And so this is also really good. This is also good for people who have irregular income, multiple goals. So again, we're talking about 6, 7, 10, 15 things that you want to save up for. People who like Excel and Google Sheets. So I personally love Google Sheets. And so I use it. I was like, let me figure it out. Okay, I understand how to do the formulas, the codes, play with colors and things. Okay, we're going to have a good time with this. And so it just gives you something, one, where you don't have to do it all on paper, because we could lose paper, right? We could wash it. I don't know if anybody ever have that situation. You go to the pull out all your clothes and it's just little paper all over your clothes in the dryer. Done it in more than once. Sometimes it was a paycheck, and I'm just like flabbergasted, right? But at the end of the day, this is a great way for it to be neat. It's clear, it's concise, and you know exactly why you're saving, again, where your money is going, and you're going to make sure that you match those numbers within your accounts with what is happening on the spreadsheet. Go to the next one. Okay, so what I wanted to show you, that's why we had that one, is I wanted to show you another spreadsheet, but this is actually a spreadsheet that I have. This is also to the left, is me writing down the budget, right? So this was 2020, right after we went to a trip to Puerto Rico, because my wife was like, we just got to go to Puerto Rico. And the whole time we're there, I'm like, I don't know how we gonna pay for this. I have no idea. Like, we're not there yet, but we're together, but I'm not in her bills and stuff. But I'm just like, so we ain't got no reservations. We ain't tripping on what we buy and what we don't buy. I'm like, this is bad. So when we come back, she's like, okay, we got to talk, because I know I overspent. I know my credit card is going crazy right now. Help me figure it out. And so I just went to, again, a blank piece of paper on in the sketchbook and started writing down, again, this is groceries, have different categories. And then immediately, maybe a week later, I said, now we got all these numbers. Let me put it all in Google Sheets. And make that effort to have all these different things. And we know what everything costs. We know what haircuts cost. We know how much the therapy costs, in the name of Jesus. You know how much Valentine's Day costs, New Year's. And that's the thing. Once you actually start to think about, okay, actually, we do something for New Year's. Like, we don't really think about it too far in advance because it's not Christmas. But Valentine's Day, New Year's, 4th of July, we're not going to be at home. Oh, shoot. Father's Day, Mother's Day, Labor Day, right? But Halloween, we know we're going to have not only candy, but we're going to have costumes we got to buy, especially if we're trying to kill it when we show up to the party as a family, because sometimes that's the whole intention. So I have to show these white people, okay, we about to represent real hard. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I know, we know. We tried. We really did try. But all that to say is, again, you can just make sure that you have all this stuff written down inside the Google Sheets. Right. And you can change it whenever you want, But the idea is to make sure that the money is matching in the account somewhere, that it actually, so that this works for you. Okay, so before we go into that, any questions about either Google Sheets or using Excel or something like that? I mean, has anyone thought about using those as a way to help you budget your money versus writing, or does anyone prefer writing it down?
Yeah, I do that every month.
Prefer writing it down? Yeah. I hear that.
I've been budgeting for the last time, so it's all gone. I'm still happy.
Comedy, still broke, hilarious. But completely understand, right? And I hear that with my older generation. Makes complete sense, actually. When I was little, I loved writing, and I know that once technology changed everything, but I thought writing was amazing, and having people notebooks and stuff like that. So when I first started budgeting, I was definitely writing a lot of stuff down. But of course, for us who always are on our phones. We always have something, our laptop, our iPads, whatever. This is a great way to keep that stuff with you. You can always check on it because it's not at home in the notebook. It's literally right on your phone. Okay, using a brokerage.
You said that we could put it in our phone?
Yeah, when it comes to Google Sheets or Excel, any type of digital thing, you could definitely have that in your phone, and you can make sure that you are checking it yourself.
Okay.
Um, Malachi, let me know. Does Rocket Money help with saving, like goals or anything like that?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah.
Rocket Money? Oh.
You can transfer money. You can set a savings goal and you can transfer money out to account each.
Yeah, I don't use Rocket Money for that, but yes.
Okay. Okay. So, but you can also see it from Rocket Money, like how much is in a certain account too. Yeah. Right. Right.
Your credit cards, all your savings, everything.
Nice. Exactly. And so, whether it's an app or it's Google Sheets or Excel, definitely consider that because it helps again make everything look nice and neat, and you can adjust it if there are ever any issues with it. Um, so another option, using a brokerage account for a goal. And I see this, or rather, I saw this as soon as I opened up my brokerage accounts and started to see, oh snap, they're not just saying like just open it and save for whatever because we are trying to retire. It says, do you want to have this be for something else? Do you want it to be for the house? Hello. Do you want it to be for the car? Hello. Do you want it to be for, again, a large travel goal, moving, right? Starting a business, weddings.
Never again. Never again. Don't support us.
I want to say, I have a friend who's supposed to get married in the summer.
Uh-huh.
This is a person with a good paying salary as well as her partner.
Uh-huh.
And they're stressed out because they still can't afford their wedding.
Yes. It's a lot.
And I told her, like, maybe you should just, I said, maybe, instead of stressing about it, just go to San Francisco City Hall. I've seen nice things. I've seen pictures of people get married there, very simple. But
Exactly.
I think the point being is just, I was mind blown that this girl has a great paying job.
Mm-hmm.
And her fiance is studying dental.
Uh-huh.
Watch her stressed out about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopeless, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And as you can imagine, and we talked about this once with some coworkers, part of the issue, is mentioned, one of the terms people use is lifestyle creep. But part of the issue is that when you have more money, then you kind of think bigger, And so while, you could have done City Hall, you could have done like a local ... You like, man, we should go and go all out and do something enormous, and you got to bring this many guests, and you don't want to exclude this many people. Next thing you know, you can't. That's how you get in trouble. Exactly. If you could say, man, we making a whole lot of money, but I don't know how we gonna make all this money, spend it, because I don't know how to spend all this money. It's real. It's real. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
$100 for the taxi driver?
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
you're not getting 100 from me.
I hear it. I hear it completely. And so, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that you mentioned that, Jada. The truth of the matter is that, again, if we do some of these things on credit, we do some of these things on cards, whatever it is, we can find ourselves paying these things off for years, right? Indefinite. And again, this is when circumstances are ideal. There will be nothing that makes that more complicated. But in reality, we never know, right? Losing a job, again, missing something else, money needing to go to something else. You can't take care of that. So you're actually going in deeper into debt than you plan to go. So you just want to make sure that whatever we're doing around things like weddings and or cars, because you don't have to buy the Lexus, right? You don't have to buy, the BMW, but, you can, there's options, right? So we can just, it allows for us to have more money at the end of the day if we don't spend the most that we can when we have those opportunities. And I do want to empathize too, just for a brief second, to go, but I also get it when we do go, we're gonna try. We're gonna try to do that big thing because we never do the big thing, right? So even if, I remember when we went to Egypt right after the pandemic, so it was like 2021. Technically, people were still sheltering in place, and I was like, but I really would love if we could pull this off, and we did, and it was a great trip. It was amazing. It wasn't too hot, but then it was on certain days, and so I'm definitely glad that we went. So sometimes you're going to take those risks, but you don't have to take them all the time, right? We don't have to always get the biggest and the best car, house, dress, so on and so forth.
For the kids' future things, my neighbor was telling me how her daughter wanted to go to Stanford. She said to her, my money is not going to take you there, but you can go to UC Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
And so that was a tough conversation she had with her daughter. But I mean, any UC school is pretty good to me.
Yeah.
The fact that her mother had to pay for it by herself, I was like, I applaud you.
Right.
Yeah.
They better apply for some scholarships and grants.
This ain't all my problem. Absolutely. Right.
You gotta tell kids to do the work themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Brothers and sisters, they went to HBCUs that put on her so much debt.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's real. It's real. Um. Mhm. 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 So all those things have to be discussed for sure in advance. But what's great about this one, right, is potential for high returns. So this is a little bit different than your high yield savings account. High yield savings account, they let you know this is how much it's going to grow. Brokerage accounts, it goes, we don't know what's going to happen, honestly. But it could, depending on where you put the money or whatever, it could grow, annually about 8%. It can go 9 or 10 or 11, depending on where it goes. So that also involves a little bit of us knowing, where we're putting our money and what are the likelihoods of it growing that much. So when you're doing when you're doing a brokerage account, you're taking a little bit more of a risk. At the end of the day, it's growing definitely more than it would grow if you were just using your regular checking account or savings account. But then secondly, is that it probably also has the potential to grow higher than your high yield savings account. So this is kind of if you will, the game of life. You take bigger risks, you have the chance for higher returns, but you also can lose money as well. But what's great, and this is what they mentioned again at the end of the paper, is that this is really good if you're thinking about a goal that's going to take 3, 5, 7, 8, 10 years, 15, 20 years, because all the stuff that the stock market is doing every single day, you're not worried about that because it's going to be all right in a year, right? For this particular stock, it's going to be all right in 5 years. Oh yeah, it's going to dip, whatever. In 5 years, we'll be back, right? We'll be somewhere else better than where we are when it fell down. So long-term goals, this has much more. It makes much more sense to put your money into a brokerage account. More growth over time, great for long-term, mid-term goals, easy to automate contributions, just like same thing with the high yield savings account. Money stays separate from your day-to-day savings, exactly, right? So just like the high yield savings account, it just has a potential to be higher and give you more interest than your HYSA. Can we go to the next one? Strategies for using a brokerage account. So for goals less than a year, you want to keep it in the high yield savings account or your regular checking account. For goals 1 to 3 years, you want to be conservative with ETFs, money market funds, which are very low risk. And for goals 3 to 5 years, you want to have a broad, again, broad stock market ETF. So this is one that is like tracking the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ or Dow Jones, any of these ETFs that are that contain literally tens to possibly hundreds of companies. versus some of the ETFs that may contain 8 to 10 companies or something like that. And then a moderate mix of stocks and bonds. And so this gives you an opportunity, again, to put the money in some great stocks, some ones that are doing really well, that have been doing well. You can put them, again, we mentioned things like the blue chip stocks or stocks that are, that again, these companies are very reputable and they've been around for years, right? These are not some of the brand new ones, but this gives you an opportunity to be a little bit more safe in your investments. And again, most likely hit that goal anywhere between 3 to 5 years or more, right? So what I want to ask with that is, who can think of a goal that would take 3 to 5 years to reach that if you were saving every paycheck?
Down payment on the house.
Down payment on a house, right? Down payment on a house, right?
3 to 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's again anywhere between $20,000 and $80,000 that you want to put aside. You know, I would think about rings, you know, for the guys, you know, having a wedding ring, whatever. But at the listen, I hear you. Okay. I'm not gonna battle with you on this. But all that to say is that, again, these are opportunities to think, okay, what's going to happen in 5 years? Again, when we think about houses, right? Because keep it a buck. We don't want to just buy any house. And we also, and I'll say this too, has anyone ever had any experience with bidding for houses? Talking about war.
Yeah, I heard it's terrible.
It's horrible because the people who have the money are all in East Oakland. Like, we coming for that house. And we're like, are you serious? And so let's say they're asking for 700,000, and so you need to put down. Here goes this cat. I don't never seen that cat, but this cat said hello. She said, I'll throw something at you. Don't have that cat come in this room. But yeah, you have a bid, you got the loan, approval for the loan for 700,000, and somebody says, we'll do 8, and we'll do this much in cash. And you're like, well, we ain't even got cash like that. We got some cash, we ain't got cash like that, right? And so what I've seen, and I've talked to my wife about this, a couple people that we run into in life, okay, some interesting stories. So the first thing I'll say is, I ran into someone, my wife told me about someone at her job where they had a situation where they got a house in Montclair. How'd they pay for it? Mom and dad.
What?
Now, how much did they put down? Probably like 200.
These stories are depressing because you're talking about like generational wealth, right? And so you know that's a tough conversation for Black Americans.
I do.
Yeah, so
I do.
you can't
I
compare
do.
that.
I do. No, it's definitely not about comparing, but what I'm getting at is that, for instance, so what I will say to that is that when we do see that happening, let's not immediately assume that, oh, they just paid for it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that was just him and her. No, that was them. That was them. Their parents are dropping, blah, blah, blah. Someone else I met at a group, this was the story of the person that I met, and he was like, you know, we're trying to buy a house soon. We're trying to figure this out. And then he goes, my wife's parents have a house that they're just going to give us. And so we just got to figure out how to like transfer it over. To your point, I was like, I don't want to know you no more. I don't want to know you. I don't even want to talk to you because like I can't relate, right? I cannot relate at all. Like they're buying, or rather they have a whole house already. Wow.
I have a coworker today that just told me that her mother passed away a month ago and left her a home in Massachusetts. And so forget buying.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just empty right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good. So if you want to move there, you're good. If you want to sell it and take all that and then put that towards the house that you want to get in a neighborhood you want to live in, you can do that too. But what I recognize when we were looking for our place is the places like Rockridge, Temescal.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. It ain't an option. It ain't even an option. Yeah, right. It's not even an option because you're not competing for that house. You're competing for whoever those people have on their site to help them pay for that house. And so whatever your credit limit is, that's really cute. You need to figure out how you're going to have 200, like I mentioned, 1,000 that somebody can pay in cash to help you make that happen. And again, sometimes that was West Oakland. We were looking at places in West Oakland that were, again, people were bidding like crazy for, some of the Victorian houses, super tall, got mad space, you got basically 2 floors of 3 rooms each. I mean,
you're also competing with banks too.
that too, right? Because corporations buy them.
West Oakland is way different now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All the people that wanted to build there, they pushing all of
Yeah.
people that had Victorian houses out.
I was there. Aren't they trying
Pushing them out.
take up
Buy out
Victoria
these-
Village?
Yeah.
Is that in West Oakland? They're trying to do like a big takeover, like not allowing us to buy it, but like.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I live in West Oakland now. I've been living there for 7 years. It's one of the reasons why I don't want to leave is because the owner of the home is a Black woman, and her mom bought that home around like in the 80s for about 30,000.
Wow.
So she just rents it out.
Yeah.
I'm okay with giving her my rent money.
Yeah.
But I live in West Oakland. I know that the demographics, it is a tough conversation. But 2 things that I think people should be aware of: they're not pushing Black people out, but Black people already pushed out. It is 30%
Yeah.
white. And then also, I don't know why this conversation hasn't happened, but as you're talking about, bidding for money and so forth, people need to realize that it's also bought up by hedge funds and LLCs. And
Yeah.
you're also competing with that. And I think as we're talking about money, I just think we have to know where trying to buy a home in Oakland may not be realistic.
Yeah.
Going elsewhere.
Yeah. That's
a tough
It
conversation.
is. And that's why we're in Richmond.
Yeah.
To be very honest, that's why it takes me 30 minutes to get here, because we were in Oakland and we were like looking and we were like, let's look a little further out, not because again, it's that the property is expensive. It's that once you start bidding, you're competing with people who have a whole bunch of money, and so yeah, that's very real. And it also brings up for me the question of, like you mentioned, when you brought up the LLC, it made me think about how people can possibly put in money together to have an LLC and to be able to purchase a property with others, right? So it's one thing when it's your primary residence, so that's a little different, right? But if you're saying we're literally 40, 50, whatever years old, and we have money that we want to invest. 2, we can buy property together. I know I got some folks that we can do this together, and we can buy it, and we can ... and we can all make money each month from this property. That's something that is possible too, right? So once, the income has gotten there, the career has gotten there, that can be an option for us as well. So just want to bring that up because I've seen that. One, it's come up in some conversation, but I've seen it with other folks too, saying, where they partner on, bless you, when they partner on an LLC or a real estate investment, and they say, we're all going to put this money in, let us know, you kind of know different people's economic situation. Once you're acquainted, you can make those types of decisions together and say, hey, let's do it. You know what I mean? If we buy a property over here, we know we could charge this much. We do this for the upgrades, ... Each month we could charge and we'll get this back and we could split, right? Versus investing that money into the stock market, right? So, but just want to throw that out there. That is something that is a very real opportunity that we can work on. So can we go to the next one? And so what I wanted to show you, when to use a HYSA. So we talked about that again. This is not updated, but when we talk about that, again, this is going to be for longer term goals. So this is, again, 5 years or more is when we're talking about using the brokerage account. But for the HYSA, we can do those for a year. We can do those for less than a year. I honestly don't have much of a real reason to use a checking account or a savings account in your regular bank for a savings goal because it's still in your account. But at the end of the day, it could just be a matter of comfort. You know, if you don't really know high yield savings accounts like that, you may still rock with a regular savings account. But I feel like it's either high yield savings or brokerage is your best bet.
I was trying to write some notes here, but I don't speak Latin.
I know. Yeah. So I would say if you guys can refer to your page, everything is on the paper. So this would be, again, when to use your high yield savings account. You guys have that? Oh, shoot. Here we are.
And then
I was asking you guys. Here you go.
In the follow-up email,
have
the
this?
presentation will be available.
Yes, yes. Oh, here these all are. Right, exactly. Here these all are. Right. So if you could change it up, that's fine with me. Right. And so, when to use. All right. So yeah, this is the very last one, right? So again, when we're thinking about short-term goals, when we're thinking about medium-term goals, long-term goals, then we can start thinking about the brokerage accounts. Can we go to the next one? I wanted to. That's crazy. So I did create a slide that actually shows, again, my Fidelity account and shows where you can, where it asks you about your goals. So like I said, if you open a brokerage account, again, it's not expensive to open an account, right? Opening the account is free. The reality is that it's just a little bit more complicated than your high yield savings account. Your high yield savings account, all you need is like a bill and your social security number, maybe some type of ID. You literally want to take a picture and send that in. But when it comes to a brokerage account, they're going to ask you more questions. They're going to make sure that whether you want it to be a joint account or you want it to be an individual account. But they're going to put you through a little bit more to figure that out. That's if you're doing something like Fidelity. When you have something like Cash App, like you can literally invest with Cash App, right? You can literally invest with, like we talked about, with Venmo. And so some of these things already have your social security number, and it's not that complicated. I believe Robinhood isn't that complicated either in terms of, opening that up. But all that to say is once you have those accounts, then you can literally go inside of those and, again, have a certain account dedicated to a goal. A certain account going towards, again, like we said, the wedding. It could be going towards the house. It goes towards, something huge to get like a car, right? And this is especially when we don't want to just walk into a dealership and say, charge me however much you want to charge me. I just need to get a car today. That's when we say, okay, I want to come in with this much down payment, right? And so I want to make sure that the price is low per month so it could be something that I can work with. And so you come in with cash, but that's a great opportunity. A great opportunity for you to do something more difficult. And again, takes more time to ultimately save for. So yeah, for the homework, again, credit reports. I got 2 credit reports last month. If we took all that time, I got 2 credit reports. I want to encourage you guys to make sure you get your credit reports for this coming month. And then credit scores. Making sure that you guys are just at least aware of them, because we're going to talk about credit next time we meet up. And we're going to talk about credit. Now, ideally, I want to talk about credit for at least 2 sessions, but I don't know if we're going to do all that. But we're going to talk about it. We talk about, the ins and outs, some of the tricks of the trade, whatever. But at the end of the day, these are things that we're going to get to delve into. And you just want to, again, know where you're at. 1, 2, what you need to do. 3, what are some of your options on getting your credit score up and what it will mean. But you also just want to make sure that, again, everything is legit. That is, nobody is in your account, have an account that you don't know about, opening up cards that you don't know about. You want to be up on all those types of things. How much time do we have left? I don't have my phone with me.
37 minutes.
37, what you think? And we could.
Maybe give me an option sheet.
Uh-huh.
Majority rules.
Majority rules. So we have, you said 37. So we do have the cash flow game if we want to break up into groups and get into that. But before we do that, let's make sure we do submit the budgets. Let's get these papers as well as the exit tickets. Do.
It's free.
Okay.
I'll send that to you.
Okay. I would say again, when you do this, the share button right there, that arrow, you could share that to me. I could give you my email address.
Mine's right. I
Say it again.
sent it to you.
Okay, yeah. If you sent it, it's all good. But if you haven't sent it, then you can write it down. I know. Yeah. So just your budget for how the last month went, and then the exit tickets, and then we can move on from there. But
You said for the last month,
yeah.
like December or this past month?
The past month. Yeah. So I would even say, up until now.
And then what is this?
Just the exit tickets, yeah, around what we covered today.
Jermaine, I'm gonna text Chet's credit report to you.
Okay. That's good. Thank you, Chet. Thank you. So next time I need to get a longer one of these. It's all good. Water. But definitely understand any of the hesitancy around saving for some of those longer term goals. What's great about saving for the longer term goals is, honestly, when it comes to some of those things that we don't know is going to happen, whether it's the house or the wedding, again, the car that you would really love to have, the truth is that some of those things would be helped if there was somebody else in the picture that you're saving money and putting that money towards. But gathering that money together. But if there's no one else, you still want to have some idea of how you could possibly save for those things. Whether or not it's going to happen, in 2 years or in 7. And again, whether or not someone else is in the picture, it would be great, even if you weren't with somebody, how you could save for the house in case, again, circumstances do work out like that. And then now you guys have 2 incomes and you guys can both save for it. But not saving for it at all. And then again, having to save for it once the situation is upon you is a little bit harder depending on how things work out. So it's definitely a good idea to have something saved for some of those longer term goals. I literally did meet a guy at church once who said that he saved for his house. He's been saving for his house since he was 18. He's been saving for his wedding ring since he was 18 as well. And he's somebody who hasn't had a whole lot of luck in the romantic. So he hasn't bought the house. Didn't buy the house for a long time. He eventually just got married. I want to say married in the last few years, but having all that money accumulated for the sake of these couple of things, I think is a great idea if you can do it. And so, especially when it's a longer term one, like I said, the further out it is, you don't have to put so much money towards it every single paycheck, but at least you're putting something towards it. Again, if the circumstance arises where you go, it's time to buy a house. All right. It's time to get married, and I could put something towards the wedding. And even if it's not, the bulk of the money, we recognize that, again, our parents can help with wedding costs. Our parents can help with housing, with the purchasing of a house too. But just having something to put up will be great.